Greetings, Chuggalos, and welcome to day 21 of the Brew Crew Podcast Advent Calendar Spectacular. I'm Matt, so that's one day in a row now that I've got my name right. Today we're going to be drinking Wolf's Ridge, Impish or Admirable, so you guys know the holiday significance on that. This is a winter lager. So right now I implore you to think, because winter lager elicits a lot of feelings and a lot of palate. What do you think that a winter lager means to you? I'll just give you a couple seconds because I'm going to tell you what I think that it means. Okay, so for me, I think that it's like a heavily spiced beer. So one that's going to be a winter lager, so it's going to have a lot more heartiness to it. So I'm going to say a spicy, hearty type beer. So again, this is from Wolf's Ridge. You can find out more information about them. We had them on day 12, so now 9 days ago. We had them for Daybreak, which is like a ho-hum cream ale. So Impish Admirable. The significance of this beer specifically is from The Office. So if you know, with Dwight Schrute's character, which is my favorite character from the entire series. So I adjust the camera a little bit because I know that light is pretty blinding. So this is a winter lager, again, 6%. So I'm just going to go with a crack. But please share your thoughts below on what you think a winter lager should elicit. 3, 2, 1. I'm excited. I'm guessing a hop or a spicier and a heartier lager. That's really good. So first of all, it says for the profile right on the can, it says smooth, toffee, and pumpernickel. And I was talking before, my wife said, go do your video really quickly before you lose it for the evening. And I was like, all right, it's not too often that you get encouraged by your wife to go drink beer. So for this, I was excited because I read smooth, toffee, and pumpernickel, and we were talking about what's a better bread, rye versus pumpernickel. I'm pumpernickel all the way. Most people are rye. It's more popular. There's a lot more variations. Pumpernickel elicits that absolutely darker bread. But one of the key things that I have during my holiday season is a pumpernickel piece of bread, Cheese Whiz, and crumpled up potato chips. It's just one of my, that's how I know, like, everyone's like, how do you know it's a specific holiday? For me, that's like the demarcation for, boom, this is a holiday. Just engorge yourself on how much of that loaf of pumpernickel that you can eat. So back to this beer. It definitely is smooth. It's 100%. I get the toffee because the toffee is like a smooth, milky sweetness that doesn't have like a higher low, but it's more waves than it is peaks and valleys. I don't get the pumpernickel, but for me, that's like a bold pick on if you're going to say that you're putting that into a beer. Like, is it the finished product? I guess I don't know. Like, is there a certain herb or a spice or whatever that goes into every loaf of pumpernickel that they put into this beer? This is a well-balanced beer. It definitely feels like winter. Like if I just had a lager, just because like the weightiness of it, and maybe that's just because I looked at it a little bit too much. But just like playing with it on my mouth or on my palate a little bit, it like creams it up a little bit. It thickens it, kind of like a toffee would stay in your mouth. So I totally get that, both in taste and texture, because toffee elicits both of those for me. It's significant and unique on the taste and what it does to your palate. Like it, engulfs it just in like a richness. So off the top rope, this is got to be one of the best lagers that I've had. It's a gimmicked lager though, and that's perfectly fine. Like, own and be what you are. Off the top rope, I'm going to give this a 4.5. This is a neat beer. In the fact that it makes me want more lagers like this, because it does something different, and it gimmicks it up a little bit. Like, so if it was just like a German purity law lager, I don't think it would do anything for me. The fact that they added something to it and made it so much better is awesome. So yeah, again, off the top rope 4.5. So today I do have a beer journey as I conclude this episode. I went to one of my favorite liquor stores. So I'm hanging out at my in-laws. And so I always go to a place here that's called Discount Liquor. So I always walk around because it's an amazing store. They have just so much stuff and it's just tightly packed because they're trying to move product like any good businesses. And on the floor, they have a box and it's a 24 pack and it just says, it's got a Discount Liquor sticker on it and it's got a Drink Responsibly sticker on it, excuse me. Sorry, Stacy. And I go, okay, so I pick it up. I look at the price point. And it's $45. I was like, I'm in for a mystery. It doesn't label anything. It just says Wisconsin beer on it. So I take it up there. I get home and the wife's excited. So we open into it. And it's an advent calendar, which is what we're doing right now. And the important thing, it's a Wisconsin advent calendar. So you go through. And a lot of those beers I've had breweries from, or I've had samples from their brewery, but I haven't had these specific beers. So my wife is picking through it because she's excited too. There was a New Glarus keychain in it. So she goes, I'm claiming this. And I go, that's awesome. You know, I have enough like beer keychains and beer openers. Like any good keychain should have it should double as a beer opener. But we're going through and she's like, you know, claiming like, oh, let's drink this one together. And it's awesome because I'm going to leave it. I'm going to leave it here. And it would be a great sampler for anyone outside the state. But so like, you know, just in reflection, I'm thinking about like what I spent on this. And, you know, beer costs money and good beer costs more money. But like this was a good microcosm or sampler of Wisconsin beer. There wasn't any like layoffs in there or anything that's like, oh, you know, because I guess maybe I've transitioned a little bit more to Ohio drinking. But I looked at it and I was like, you know, like it has point special. Like I grew up in college drinking point special. The interesting thing is, and the takeaway that I want to tell you, the fans, is if you see like a mystery box like that or just a questionable, take a leap. Not everything has to be, you know, like your Miller Lite or what you would drink normally. Like, hey, this was a $45 leap. I was like, I don't know anything in the box. It was just a plain brown box. All the beer is still sitting in it. It's chilling out in what we call a Wisconsin extra cooler. So it's chilling out in the garage, you know, so the garage is going to get down to the high 20s, low 30s. So it's going to be a perfect like beer storage area especially during the winter months. But I'm excited to like participate in those beers because the bunch that I looked at, I've never had before. I recognize the brewery names and none of them are big names. But I was like, oh, you know, excited for that. And they're all gimmicks. They're not like their ho-hum flagship thing. But again, in the last 10 years, I've been more associated with Ohio craft brewing than I have been with Wisconsin craft brewing. So wherever you drink, if you ever see these at like your favorite liquor store, just random, it helps them move product too. It's kind of like how we create the Mystery Cooler of Death game. And that's a whole nother episode itself. So again, this episode was Wolf's Ridge, Impish or Admirable, Ouch Out to the Office. God, what was that Dwight Schrute? Bandersnatch? I can't remember. Such a good when he's hitting Jim with that switch. You can find out more from Wolf's Ridge out of Columbus, Ohio at wolfsridgebrewing.com. But again, I hope you guys are enjoying the holidays as much as I am. It's been a raucous few days, and it's just going to keep going up here the next couple of days. And we have 3 more beers to do. And I'm excited because each beer that I have left is going to be in a new location. Maybe. But cheers to you. Happy holidays. And I'm going to list that or continue to say that. But again, Impish or Admirable. Wow. Off the top rope, 4.5. Cheers.